Welcome to Laying Fallow. I'm Donna Von Bruning. Today I speak with Dalton Poppell. Dalton was a theater major at Savannah Arts Academy. He headed to the University of Georgia in the fall of 2020 and graduated in May of 2024 with a degree in computer science. Dalton is currently employed in his field and is back home in Savannah living with Katelyn. We start with your quote, and this is what you said. The worst part of losing the end of my senior year was my final soccer season coming to an end. This year felt like my best shot at winning state championship, and for it to be taken away really stunk. I did get to finish cross country though. However, this long break has given me time to pivot and get excited about all the fun I'm going to have at UGA. I'm excited to be on my own and can't wait to meet all the new people and get my degree. So you said you were excited to be on your own and meet all the new people. How did COVID affect your ability to meet anybody?
Yeah, so I would say I did still meet a lot of people, but I don't know if COVID impacted so much meeting new people, but it totally impacted meeting lasting relationships, because I still would see people all the time, but just in my college dorm alone, if you had other people in your apartment or whatever, they actually would knock on the door and kick people out and stuff. So there was never really a indoor space to hang out with people, which is it's something you don't really think about until you're there, which is why Megan Donovan's sister was older than us, and she had an apartment then, and it was a super small apartment that had nothing special about it, but we all would just hang out there just because it was an indoor place we could hang out in. Because even the dining halls, they would be really annoying if there's more than 5 people there and things like that. Thinking back, how was that a thing? But the other thing that was so annoying is depending on where you were living at, your experience could have varied so much differently. Where Katelyn's dorm was so much more relaxed, and for instance, you didn't have to show your ID card to get into the dorm rooms, whereas mine was one of the high rises, Crestwell, and that one they were much more strict about.
You were in Krusty Crestwell?
Yeah.
I can't believe that. So you went to UGA. So you went. There was never a thought of you staying home. You were going.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Well, I mean, there was thoughts of me going to UGA or Georgia Tech. If I got into Georgia Tech, I was definitely going to go there, but...
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
Are you sad?
No, I think in hindsight, I'm glad, but...
Yeah.
I was probably the first semester a little bummed, but then I went up to visit some friends, and we went during finals week, and then I was super happy. It was just so much.
Georgia's hard enough?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. The whole vibe of the whole school was so depressive during that week and stuff. I don't know.
So I remember talking to you, and you wanted college. And I mean, this is the last month of senior year or whatever. You wanted to go, not room with someone you knew. You were really looking for what it was supposed to be.
Yeah. That was altered. I don't know if I've ever talked to you about the roommate I had. He was...
Not really, no.
Odd cat.
Oh, really? But did you match up with him, or did you random draw?
I matched up with a kid, and I felt we were getting along so well. I mean, it was online, so how well can you get along? But he ended up dropping, just going all the way out on UGA. He took a gap year, and then that assigned me with another student that had lost his roommate pretty much, which I should have thought was a red flag then, because the reason he lost his roommate is because the other guy didn't want to live with him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then
so he was the problem.
Just I don't want to make fun of people with mental illness, but I would not be surprised if he was he would say he has extreme bipolar. He had been arrested and stuff.
So he was sick.
Yeah. I would...
And to live in a 10 by 12 box with him.
I know. Yeah, he was, for instance, he got arrested, so he'd have to go home every weekend because the police people were telling him to get out, and he was just standing on the roof with a knife. And he wouldn't put it down. It's not at UGA at his own house. That would have been even worse. But yeah, so this guy, I don't know. I didn't really get along with him a ton. But he's had some radical idea. I think everyone, but I wasn't.
It wasn't just you.
Yeah. So,
you said he was bipolar. That you knew, so who knows what else?
It was definitely me being in my head, but he would sleep talk all the time, and it was so scary when I was across. Because he'd be stop! Yelling, and I'd be what is happening?
Did he stay or did he leave?
He was probably in the dorm 50% of the time, but there was the second half of the second semester, he was gone the whole time, so I had the whole apartment.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, that was fun. But
Did it get lonely, kind of crappy because of COVID?
I don't know. At that point, I was honestly saying it canned a lot. Then, I mean, probably, but I don't remember actually being lonely.
Or has the journey of the past 4 years been what you thought it would be or not at all? And by that I mean, your senior year, you're thinking like, oh, college, this is what it's going to be. And then you went in COVID.
Yeah. I would say some aspects yes, some aspects no. So, like you were describing that I was wanting to go and meet a lot of new people. And like, I did, and I'm still in like group tests with people from UGA that like aren't from Savannah, but like still definitely my like closest relationships are a bunch of Savannah people. And that sounds like I'm not like your son, but like, I mean, I'm like the kids from Savannah a ton, so it's not like that's upsetting to me, but I definitely wouldn't have pictured that alone, that we would have like stayed so well connected. But then certain aspects, like I went to Spain last summer, and that was a ton of fun, honestly. Like,
was it life-changing?
I think so. I don't know. It was definitely the most fun I've had that I can remember. So.
Did you know anyone when you went on the trip?
Not really beforehand.
That's
like,
fantastic.
No one enough that I would like say hey to in a store. Like I've like spoken to them, but not like enough. But now we're all like really tight and stuff. So.
That's amazing. So overall, the friendship part was not what you thought it would be.
Yeah.
Because you thought you would be expanding and meeting all these.
For sure. Yeah.
I mean, look at that's completely different experience.
Yeah, and there's some aspects though that like I'm jealous, but then there's also the side of things where it's like, I don't know, like if I was friends with everybody from UGA, the people that I'm friends with from UGA, like I talk to way less than, I know it's because I'm in Savannah, but like, I don't know, like if I had like the more traditional college route, how much I would have, how many of those friends I would have kept after like we all graduated actually like be partying. Mm-hmm. But
what was your biggest loss of the past 4 years?
This is kind of more abstract, but like I feel like my reliance on tech, I don't know, I became so much more like an iPad kid. It's so annoying. Like,
you guys all call it iPad kid, and I think that's so funny.
Well, it's true. I hate it. So, like with like ChatGPT, but that's like way more the last year. But oh my gosh, it's crazy how much more. But yeah, I would say that like, I'm not saying I'm not motivated, but there's just times I'm like, this would just be easier to just put a like small query in and just get a good answer. Not what you're looking for?
No, that's totally what I'm looking for. Like, it's whatever it is to you. So you're saying you kind of lost that...
I don't know. I just feel like it's hard for me to sit in a room and not technology for a little bit. I feel like I see that in a lot.
Your attention span?
Yeah, pretty much.
With that attention span, does it also interest? Like, are your interests a little bit more...
Maybe.
In and out? You know what I mean? Like
I can't watch a whole long movie anymore. Is that what you mean? Somewhat. Sometimes I feel that. So, yes.
Bored easy?
Yes. And I see that across, like, my whole age, which says...
Mm-hmm. Like, you lost the ability to deep focus as much as you used to.
It feels rarer, yes.
What has been the greatest lesson?
Okay, I'll say, like, maybe like, be grateful for what you have, because the whole aspect of, like, we're talking about not meeting people. It wasn't like I was ever, like, without friends, though. Like I was probably going into college, and even with, like, Katelyn, for instance, but also my friends, like being like, I had a lot of fun in high school and things, but it's time to start a new chapter, and I don't know, maybe like, these people are cool too, like, you know? Like,
aren't you lucky you still have this?
Yes.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, don't take for granted what's already in your backyard type of thing. Man, that's a great lesson. That makes perfect sense. Because I could see especially where you are, and that's a lot of the reason I wanted to do this is like, yeah, you guys lost prom and graduation, but what you really lost is the true launch year.
Yeah, that like senior summer.
That senior summer, but like that freshman first semester. Oh. I compare yours to Nolan's. It's night and day.
I'm sure, yeah.
Like his is the quintessential, and even Grayson he'd get a little mad sometimes. He'd be like, like, I didn't get any of that.
Yeah.
You know, and that loss is so huge to me. And you guys don't really, you know it, but you don't really know it because you never had it. The personal relationships you mentioned, and I'm not necessarily talking about you alone, but do you think because of COVID that people held on to those relationships too long?
Are you meaning like boyfriend, girlfriends?
No, I mean friendships. Like, or people stayed in their little high school huddles too long and didn't even try?
Yeah, I could see it being a crutch for sure. But there's also aspects, it's like, is it too long if I like to hang out with them? But I totally, yes, it would be like, I'm just going to hang out with these people. So, I don't know.
Like
I don't know if I
not
would
try.
say like too long because of that. I feel like it has a lot of like negative connotation. But yes, I would probably like, if I went to like App State or something, or school without other people, like you'd be forced to, and that's kind of like what Spain was like for me, for instance.
Right.
Which I really did enjoy that. So, in that way, yeah, I do wish.
Right, but there were people who just, I feel like what I witnessed, which didn't know much about your lives except Grace would randomly tell me, that you and Sam, like you guys, although you appreciated what you had and you all hung out, you guys did try to like venture out. You didn't give up.
Yeah, I would.
And I'm saying some people gave up.
For sure.
It seemed like. So you lost the milestone moments as a high school senior, all that kind of stuff. But losing graduation, did that make you want to hold on to tradition or appreciate tradition more? Or were you just kind of like go with the flow, whatever?
Not gonna lie, I was kind of, I've always kind of hated on graduations. Just, I don't know. I don't ever feel like it was that big of an achievement. That does sound big-headed, but I just felt it like for everybody a little bit. But that's because I don't know.
Well, like especially high school graduation where you like...
Yeah, that's definitely me growing up in privilege, but like, it's still like, I don't know. It definitely like, talking about things that like I lost that would like hang on the tradition, way more of like a loss was things like losing like soccer or losing like at beginning of like a normal freshman year of college. Definitely those way more than something like graduation or like, I'd say maybe prom would hurt more if we didn't have.
Your quasi-prom?
Yes. Yeah.
An attempt at prom.
Well, it was a lot of fun.
It was fun, yeah. So the George's graduation.
Yeah.
Did it mean a lot to you because it was your
Maybe.
experience with it, or were you like, again, this is ridiculous and it's long and I'm hot?
No, because I was with friends, so then it felt. I thought it was going to be like I was like could have kind of skipped, but it ended up actually being like I had a nice time and stuff. But yeah, I don't really think it was more of like me being proud of finishing them, but it was more just like
The camaraderie.
A sign of end, and then like I don't know, we did it together.
The chapter.
Yes.
Yeah. Perfect. So I went and looked high and low, researching like somebody has had to have written something about you guys. The only thing I found really was about the class of 2020 college. Like, because they graduated into a recession and what a mess for them. There's nothing about you guys and like losing the launch or anything like that. What some academics did say, and this was across the board for kids out of school, was that they categorized it as a trauma, and especially people that lost graduation.
Yeah.
Would you say trauma is a good word for that? Do you consider it a trauma? Do you think other people considered it a trauma?
Definitely other people. I don't really view it as that much of a traumatic thing, to be honest. But like, the most traumatic part of it was probably other people viewing it as traumatic, because then like some people were such like freaks about like you wear a mask or you don't wear a mask and stuff like that, where like they would be like, I don't know, it would like consume their life, and then they would be like one person I remember in high school specifically like lost a friendship over it because she was upset that like I would hang out with friends and stuff, and kind of a bummer.
Yeah, for sure. The people that did consider it a trauma, like, did you see that a lot? Like, still, like, a few people have said, I got friends that are still pissed about it.
Yeah, you would see it a lot, and the thing you would especially see is, like, you would see it when it was convenient. So, like, bars in Athens or something, like, people would, like, drive by and, like, yell things like, put a mask on and stuff like that, like, freshman year and stuff. And it was, like, it's like, okay, what is a mask going to do? We're going to, like, a club. Or whatever.
Right. You should go to the club. The past 4 years have thrust social issues to the forefront for you guys. Like Black Lives Matter, the Me Too movement, Roe versus Wade, this war on Hamas, and those encampments at school and everything. Have all of those things, especially because you guys are on social media and it's in your face so much, have they made you more empathetic to these social issues, or has it desensitized you?
Totally desensitized. Like, that, it's bad. I was talking to, like, my friends the other day about it, especially, like, school shooters and stuff. They don't even, like, you don't even hear about them sometimes now, I feel like, which is, like, insane to say, I think.
That is crazy.
Like, I don't know. I mean, obviously, I still feel for them whenever I hear it, but it's just, like, not the same as, like, I don't know, when you heard about like the one in Florida or something, I remember that one. Like
That happened when you were...
in high school, which is probably why.
Were you guys sophomores maybe? It was way pre-COVID. Because remember there was a walkout?
Yes, true. So I think junior year was that. Maybe sophomore. I don't know.
Was that weird? Because it was really towards you guys. Like, did it make you think about it? Or were you like, that would never happen here?
No, I wouldn't think about it. I felt like Savannah Arts had some like prone people.
There were some school shooter stereotypes there.
Yeah. I don't feel like there was a ton of bullying, but if there was, then I feel like...
Worried?
A catalyst or something.
You're like, I'm going to rethink the private school thing. Tell me what role social media plays in your life and how you feel about it.
I think it plays a big role because it keeps me connected with people, but I also think it's like a detrimental role in a lot of ways. Like not really for, in a lot of ways, like a lot of girls say like direct mental health, like they see people living like happier lives. I don't really think that, but it more makes me like the like addicted aspect of it where like I'll think about like, oh my gosh, I spent like hours today online and it's like really smart or something. Like
what did I learn?
Yeah, what did I learn? And then it's like this is just, imagine whatever, like you're on your deathbed and if there was like something you could see like your life and there was days spent like scrolling through Instagram and stuff. It's like
you're like you wasted 1.7 years on Instagram.
Honestly, like, it's crazy.
Yeah. What are you on?
Instagram or like YouTube. I don't know. Mainly those two.
Yeah.
Especially when I'm going to bed. Oh my gosh, that's when I doom scroll like so bad.
Okay, so you guys, like 23, 22, 21. You guys started high school. When did you get a phone? 8th grade?
Oh, younger than that.
Really?
Like,
you were young?
6th grade, 5th grade. It's great. No, I feel like my whole grade was though.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
For sure, they were.
Your little group, this 23, 22, 21, you guys got phones and you had social media, but really like Snap and Instagram were baby things. Yeah. And the algorithms weren't in place. I mean, Snap was like really just pictures.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there were likes, but you know, whatever. I feel like even though you were the first digital natives, those didn't really affect your experience of high school.
I agree. I think it affected it, but like, I don't think it probably had the like, I'm thinking about like kids growing up now with like TikTok.
That's what I'm asking you. And so now, like your kid's 5 years younger than you, if you're around any, are you like, what?
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely much more like, I feel like gone than us. But I still think that social media totally dictated like, I'm thinking about like how many like TikToks we would make and stuff. And that was like when it first started, so I can only imagine now. Or like, I forget the name of it right now, but there was that social media page when we graduated that was like exposing people for like saying the N-word and stuff. Okay, that's social media dictating.
I totally remember that. That was on Instagram.
Yeah.
That started the whole like outing people, like whether it was true or not, or...
Yeah, it became so ridiculous. Like...
I think the school had to get involved in that, didn't they?
I'm sure. I don't know.
You're like, I wasn't a part of it.
But it was just being mean. Like at first it was like hiding behind the like we're doing this to provoke positivity, but then it was like they were just like being like in a position of getting attention and stuff.
Oh, that's terrible. Okay, taking social media and talking, we're going to take it to like the dating and sex world. Now, I know you and Katelyn have been together this entire time, but you were around other people, so you observe stuff. A few things, like how do you think social media has affected dating? And by social media, I even mean like the dating apps and that sort of thing, because the studies show that you guys have a hell of a lot less sex than we did at your age.
Yeah.
In general.
I feel like that's weirdly because social media, like, because dating apps would make it increase a ton, but then I don't know. I feel like there's more like hate or like slut shaming online on social media. Maybe I don't know. That's just like an idea, but
people talked about that, and they talked about COVID being that you guys were so isolated that So a couple of the girls said, like, I feel like guys don't even know how to talk to girls anymore.
Yeah, and that like there's such a like a popular trend online where it's like a guy will talk to a girl and then the girl will be like, hell no. But it's cause and effect. That's because guys are creeps a lot of times, so they do. But it just like if I was thinking about like a single guy, like the thing when they say the worst you could say is no, there's so many videos of girls who will like literally like hiss at guys or stuff.
Oh
like,
my gosh.
I'm like, Yeah, that's too much.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it, like when we would go to, like, I'm thinking about college bars, we didn't have phones, we didn't know anything.
Yeah.
Your option was, she's pretty, I'm gonna go over and be like, hey, how you doing?
Yeah, approaching someone at the bar, it was so much rarer than at least, like, I'm idealizing movies, like, what it was like, but...
Well, yeah, like what you saw or whatever. Pretty much a lot of the girls I talked to were like, yeah, no one talked to me in bars.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, and I was like, what? That makes zero sense. And then the other thing that got brought up a lot, and I don't know if you saw this with a lot of your friends or anything, is that the guy said, one, it's harder to approach girls because, you know, COVID, isolation, we didn't talk. And then two, they're like, yeah, we didn't meet people in COVID. And also, like, right around that time, like, Pornhub became a thing.
Yeah.
So, like, there's just no need.
Probably. I don't know. I think there are so many freaking kids already with, like, porn addictions. And I can only imagine, like, for these little kids that have found so young, like, it's crazy. But what you're saying about, like, meeting people, any people I know that actually hooked up, it's so much, like, I'm thinking, like, it was rare to be outside of, like, people we already knew, you know what I mean?
Outside of the friend group, like, just somebody...
Even if it was, like, a loose friend group, like, that was kind of frequent, but, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I really, really met someone that, like, was, like, I had never talked to them before.
Like, nobody brought some random girl into your friend group.
Rarely, yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
So speaking of that, I've talked about this with you guys, the turkey dump, you know what that is? Okay. The turkey dump is when high school relationships all go to college, and then they come home by Thanksgiving, they're like, see ya. So the studies show that only 5 to 10% of high school relationships make the transition to college. 5 to 10%, that's it.
is that people that go to college together, you think? Or just...
It just didn't say, go to college. Okay.
Cool.
And then of those, only 10% end up marrying, like make it through the long haul, right?
Yeah.
Many of you guys in your close circle of friends, the majority of you are still together. But also, not just you guys, there are so many people in your class that are married.
Yeah.
And what I'm wondering, like, is do you think that some of these relationships or some of this closeness is the result of COVID? Because you didn't meet anybody new. You missed that year of, like, you know, kind of expressing yourself or anything. And then you were together so much that you just kind of grew together and, you know.
Yeah, totally. I think, like, and it was all, like, I don't, like, a crush is a negative word, but you could just cling on to someone and then, like, go through, like, the whole experience together. And then, like, because meeting people is hard, at least you'd have someone to hang out with all the time. And then also with, like, people that were doing, like, distance relationships, it was probably less distant than, like, what a traditional one would be, I think.
That's a good point. No one's brought that up.
Because it wouldn't be, like, they'd be in their dorm a lot or something. I don't know.
Yeah, so do you think that this kind of togetherness is the new normal?
No.
No.
I don't.
don't?
I think it is for sure COVID related. Yes.
You think it is COVID related?
That way more than, like, any other correlation. I think, like people sticking together. Also though, like, it's got to be influenced by, like, even though I'm not, like, doing consciously, but, like, the fact that, like, almost all my friends have a long-term girlfriend and stuff. I mean, it's got to influence it in some ways.
That's a good point too, because if all of your friends are doing it, like, who do you hang out with? So that is kind of an interesting influence on that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody's doing that, like, consciously. But
no, but it's a factor. Like, there's a lot of factors that go in. Obviously, you know, the kids that I know, like, you guys all love each other and care about each other and you're all friends and all that kind of thing. But it just seemed like, I think Carson or Sydney, one of them said she counted it, there's like 7 people are married in your class already.
Really?
Or engaged and married or something. It was 6 or 7. I was like, you're 22.
No, I think that's high, but then, I don't know. I look at, like, your parents' yearbook before, and she's like, oh yeah, they were, like, there's, like, 6 people that were pregnant in high school. So.
That is true.
And I don't feel like we had, like, any of that, really, so, I don't know.
No. There is a phenomenon called the quarter-century crisis. And that is very much like a midlife crisis that you have at 25. So you get to 25, you've done college, you're supposed to have this job, either in a long-term relationships or looking at getting married or something like that. And then you wake up and maybe everything didn't work out how it's supposed to be and you're disillusioned and uncertain or anything.
Yeah.
Do you have an opinion on whether or not your particular class will experience that more so because of COVID or less so because you already had the bottom fall out on you?
I'm thinking about like from a point of view of like me, and if things like went to like or like our friends, like for instance, if 25, if like me and Katelyn broke up, then that would hit I feel like harder than a lot of people's because it would be like not like a waste, but college is supposed to be
right. What did I do?
Yeah. And there's a lot of people in that like that had like a girlfriend through a college or something, and I feel like that would hit hard. But there probably is some truth to the like I don't know, like we have resilient or used to it maybe like a little more resilience. Yeah, I don't know. It feels like I could try to answer it, but you wouldn't know until you're 25 and
yeah, you would know. Yeah. Just a few more things. One, is there anything like after we talked about all this stuff? Is there anything that you thought about that we didn't talk about? You wanted to talk about or bring up or noticed or?
I was thinking about how, like, in the beginning you were reading that quote back, and I was talking about, like, missing soccer, and thinking about the fact that, like, basically my whole high school soccer team is playing on a soccer team this summer. And,
really?
I mean, a lot of them are.
Yeah, that's cool.
Everyone from our class that played on the soccer team, like, as seniors, is on it, so, other than Logan, I think. But anyway, if that's, like, us wanting to, if that's, like, glory days behavior, or if that's, like, they're just the kids that we know that played soccer more. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
I think that's interesting. No, I think that's interesting. I know that was a tough blow, and I will tell you, like, I interviewed Lucia, and when I asked her, like, what was your biggest loss, she's like, soccer. It killed me. And I was like, and I said, oh, it's been interesting, because, like, some of the guys on the soccer team, she goes, they were really good, too. It was their shot.
It's true.
Mm-hmm. And you're like, she's not wrong. We were really good. That is kind of interesting. I mean, it's also you guys are all here together, and it's kind of a fun thing to do.
Yeah. I don't feel like it's like in high school we're doing it, but it's just like when you think about it.
Yeah. It's an interesting observation.
All of Island is on the team too. In fact, that like it's stretch across two teams. It's like I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Really? That's kind of interesting for sure. What do you think people misunderstand about 22-year-olds today? And by people, I mean people my age.
I don't know. I feel like sometimes our age can be like perceived as soft, which I agree with in a lot of ways. But sometimes I think there's like a difference between us being seen as soft and like dumb, which I still think in general we probably are more. But I like view my parents and they're so much more like confrontational in scenarios that like I just know like. And then our age will like back off, like even something stupid with like a waiter, right? Like getting like your order wrong. Like I think you should confront, but I just know some of you my age, like probably including me, like wouldn't. And that's like I don't know. Often viewed as like soft, but then I also think you could just construe it as like maybe wanting not confrontation or something. I don't know.
You could almost say that that's an experience, though.
Yeah.
Like you don't do the hard things until you have to do it.
Yeah. I agree. But
maybe
you're saying with the age, like I'll get more.
Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely you will. Because when things start becoming your money and your time.
Yeah.
And you're a little bit more like, not everybody, but I think you guys will definitely grow into learning how to. In what other ways would you say you think people perceive you guys as soft?
I mean, definitely like politically and stuff. But like I kind of agree with that. A lot of like things like I'm thinking of like participation medals and things like that. Like
oh yeah.
But I agree that's soft kind of behavior. But,
yeah.
Or like cancel culture, I think is another example. Even like it's not all young people, but like more young people are like pro that. I think than older people.
Yeah.
Are.
Well, then what would you say is great about you guys?
I tend to feel like our age is. I don't know, maybe a little smarter, I think. So I think that's a pro.
You're not the first person to say that. Okay. Don't feel bad. I think I'm smart, so I'm good. You're not going to hurt my self-esteem.
I'm talking about the general, like older people. I mean, I think we're just more technologically advanced, for sure.
You're not wrong in that. Last question. What are you going to do with your one big life? What is the one thing you hope to accomplish? Or a few things?
I don't know. I feel like not anytime soon, but I wanted to be a father, probably. Yeah.
You want a lot or a few?
Probably 2, I think. Not to copy. All right. I didn't see what y'all pulled off.
Yeah, you should definitely strive for that. Yeah. I would definitely consider, like, that third one. We were talking about it, and I was like, I knew too many third kids that came out, and I was like, I'm just teasing.
My sister is an example. I like her.
So, I like her, but she's work. Yeah, so, like, fatherhood's important to you, like having a family.
Yeah, not for a minute, though.
Well, clearly, let's hope not.
Some people our age aren't.
I know, they're all in.
I know. Katelyn sees too many freaking Instagram posts of, like, baby fever. So I'm like,
I'll get her to relax. Don't worry about that. Yeah, don't worry about that. On that note, I'm just kind of curious. So there's this thing, and you kind of brought this up, and I was like, oh, I'm curious about this. So there's a book called Your 20s, The Defining Decades. And in the book, they have something called the cohabitation slide. And just because you have so much experience with this with all your friends and everything. So what the book says is you date in college, and then everybody graduates and moves out. And it's not like it used to be where you all went back to your hometown or whatever. Now people relocate all over the place, and maybe you end up relocating or staying in your college town, because look, a lot of people stay in Athens because they come from little podunk Georgia towns. And so financially you just move in together because it's a smart thing to do. Where for us, there was social stigma with it. Now there is none. And so you move in together, and then it's never really a choice. It's a financial thing. It's never, I really want to live with you because I love being with you all the time. It's a, well, we're together anyway. Let's just move in together. It's a smart thing to do. And then you live together for a few years or whatever, and your friends start getting married. And you're like, well, I guess let's just get married. So you kind of slide right into it instead of making very definitive choices. Like if you were to meet someone and date them for 6 months and they blew your socks off and you were like, yep, this is it. This is the person I want to be with forever, which is a very intentional decision.
Yeah.
And so this woman wrote this book. It was her PhD thesis. And she talked about the cohabitation effect and how a few years later they wake up in this marriage. A lot of them get divorced, but a lot of them are very unhappy and they have to recalibrate big time. Because the person that they fell in love with in college is not the same person 10 years later, which you never are.
Yeah.
But you don't notice the growth, or you don't see it, or there isn't any growth or whatever. You got thoughts about that? Everything I just said?
No, I mean, it's for sure true. Like you get in that path of like, okay, what's the next step? And then like this just makes sense. And I don't know, sometimes I feel what you're saying, like you don't take a step to like really think about it, making an intentional like decision. I don't know, but do you think it's really that new though of a thing? If you think about like my grandparents' generation and stuff, like how they would get married so young and stuff like that, like.
Well, yeah, because you could say that too. You could say you couldn't live together, you couldn't do anything, so you got married young. I mean, it was different. People didn't go to college either.
Yeah, that's
true.
So
you started your life. But yeah, like I send like little reels and stuff to Grayson all the time because I'm like, listen, I know you guys are going to move away and live together, and I'm cool with it. I don't really care. But all I'm saying is don't do it because it's easy.
Yeah.
Do it because it's what you want. You know what I mean?
For sure. It's kind of hard to think of like an alternative though, I think. Like,
yeah, there's alternatives though. That's what I'm saying. You know, the alternative is like either don't live together, get your own apartments, or like find friends to live with.
Yeah.
And be like, we're not kind of ready for that.
I know. I'm just saying like I feel me and Katelyn in college or something, like basically like same with like Sam and Megan or something.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
Basically lived together. And then I feel like to then do a step like if especially if we went to different towns, I don't know. I feel like that's like an inevitable breakup, to be honest.
What? Not living together?
Like, me and like maybe not living together, but living in different cities for like after you did together.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I mean, people do that all the time. I do a lot of weddings like that.
Yeah.
Where people, you know, so and so is going to get their master's degree, and this one has a job, and that's just how it is. Again, very intentional decisions.
Yeah.
We are going to stay together. We're going to commit the money to make this happen, or whatever. So I just think it's interesting. And what you said to me is like, well, we're together all the time. Yeah, but you're not really dealing with who's doing the dishes and who's taking the car to get the oil changed and who's spending whose money and how are you going to do a budget together. That's the next level.
I hear you.
It was just an interesting thing that came up in that book. And another thing that came up was career choices, which I don't think you're going to have a problem with. But the other thing for your age was people get frustrated because they can't find jobs. And so then they just kind of do whatever job and not realizing that every job is a stepping stone.
Yeah.
And they want to walk right into...
I know, to like a high paying one.
Yeah, and not realizing that you have to do the dirty work first.
Yeah. That is something, though, I feel like when you're talking about, like, it's totally valid what you're saying. But I feel like when like, you're talking about, like, older generation, like, there's, like, a generational gap in, like, thought, I think, is, like my parents' age talking about, like, getting a job. I feel like they still have the attitude sometimes with, like, where everything is online now, of, like, you know, just go into a company with, like, a firm handshake and you get a job or something. And, like, connection still is, like, everything. But I just think, like, it's changed, and sometimes they don't think that.
Dramatically.
Yeah.
I feel bad for you guys.
Yeah.
Like, you put a resume together and you send out 300 and nobody calls you.
Yeah, for sure. And well, because you're competing against the whole nation now, not just like Savannah or whatever.
Oh, that is true too. I didn't think about that. But even like if your resume doesn't have the right words on it, it just kicks out of the system.
Especially in software jobs. Oh my gosh. Like, it's true of everything, but like, you have to have like the exact programming languages and stuff. And like, I don't know.
Oh gosh, I feel sorry for you. So, all right, my friend, you did great. That's
Sweet.
it.
Thank
you.
Thanks for listening to Laying Fallow. Be sure to listen to the rest of the episodes, and to learn more and see the portraits from both 2020 and 2024, head over to my website, www.donnavonbruning.com, or to my Instagram, @DonnaVonBruning.